at Option Alpha. So wanted to do a quick little live stream today because this week coming up, we've got the Fed announcement, which is always a big day. They have a 2-day meeting, which is the second and then the third. So that kicks off their 2-day FOMC meeting. And then they announce on Wednesday the 3rd at 2 o'clock. So that's the big to do. That's the big hurrah that happens during the Fed week here. And of course, we know that markets go crazy when the Fed announces. Even like right before the Fed announcement, spreads go really, really wide. So a lot of people, they don't want to trade the Fed meeting or the Fed announcement, or they might want to adjust their bots during that process. So like that 1 hour time frame, or right at 2 o'clock, or right before, or right after, whatever the case is. So I built a bot template. I shared it last week actually in one of the workshops that we did. But I want to share it here so you guys can go into it, have a copy of it that you might want to use and take a look at as well. It's a completely free clonable. It's just a demo template. But the whole idea is that it has a bunch of different ideas on how you can set up your bots to trade around these Fed events. So if you don't want to trade the Fed event, or you want to avoid trading during an upcoming meeting, or you only want to avoid during the day or after, you can do that. So let me just kind of walk through some of these so you understand what it is here. You can just go in and you can just clone this template. Then you can grab all these automations that I built for you guys. But this first automation here is if you don't want to do any scanning, any trading for an upcoming meeting. So you would just simply go in here. There's a decision recipe that's already in here that goes through like, hey, there's a Fed meeting in a day or 2 days or one day, whatever works for you. So you just, mix and match, add those in, and then you just basically disable the automation in the morning before 10 o'clock. So if there's a Fed meeting and it's early in the morning, you basically disable it for the day. You don't do any trading during that day whatsoever. Again, that's if this one is if you don't want to trade heading up to a Fed meeting. So you'd be using this one like right now. If you don't want to trade at all this week, today, tomorrow, the next day, this is the automation that you would use. If you only don't want to trade the day of the event, so just that day, so this is a scanner that's looking for FOMC meeting today, you'd set it up like this. You just have is the Fed meeting today? Like, is it literally scheduled for today? And if it's not scheduled for today, then you go about your normal course of business, whatever your strategy is. So I just threw in something here like you are scanning for low RSI and you're going to sell a put spread. So that's what you would do. Okay. So if you don't want to do anything today, then only today, only during the days where the Fed has a FOMC meeting scheduled, it will disable itself. It won't scan anything. It won't enter new positions. It can still manage all of your existing positions, but it won't enter any new positions. Okay. So that's for today. The next thing is if you just want to do today at 2 o'clock. So in this case, this is probably what I would use, something more like this, where if you just want to stop your bot from entering positions the day that the Fed announces, and more specifically, the exact market time or kind of bracket of market time that the Fed announces. So in this case, what you would do here is you'd say, okay, the Fed is meeting today and the market time is after 1:30 and before 2:30. So that kind of brackets that time around 2 o'clock because you're not going to get it exactly, right? So you don't want to say the market time is, before 2 o'clock or after 2 o'clock because you're not going to get it exactly. I mean, they might release it or it might get hit out on Twitter and then the markets go crazy. You just want to stop trading in that time zone around the actual Fed meeting. That's if you do in this case. So again, that's if you do, you would use this one. So this one, first one is upcoming meeting. You want to stop trading heading into the meeting, like the days before it, but then you keep trading afterwards and it would automatically start retrading again. This one is today. This one's at today at 2 o'clock. And this is prior meetings. So if you want to trade, you want to stop trading after an announcement. So you don't want to trade for the day after the Fed announced. You could do something like this. You could say the Fed meeting was scheduled 3 days ago, or was scheduled 2 days ago, or one day ago, right? So this would stop all trading for basically the couple days after the Fed made the announcement. Okay. And this is for all of your scanners. So your scanners are kind of finding positions, etc. If you wanted to kind of bolt on some management strategy, this is pretty cool. What you could do is you could bolt on management that would reset how you manage positions just for the Fed announcement. So this one's really cool. This is probably a little bit more advanced, but I think it's super cool, which is is if you know that the Fed meetings have these really wide spreads and things go really crazy, what you could do is you could say, hey, look, for all of my positions, if the Fed is meeting today, like if they're scheduled to meet and it's around 2 o'clock or whatever, and I've got all these things, like adjust my profit targets really high just for that meeting, right? So just for that meeting, just for that hour of time that the Fed is announcing and the markets go crazy, like why not adjust your profit targets to 70% or 90%? Because you're going to get some really wild swings in the market like we did last time, I would assume, in a lot of cases. So if it does happen to swing to a bigger profit than you expected, like why not use a bot to automatically adjust your profit targets kind of on the fly for that microscopic window of time as you go? So you can actually do that here inside of your bots and your automations. Okay. So these are all templates that you can use and you can kind of plug in. What I did do though is let me switch over to this tab. So this is a bot that I run, which is this high IV iron condor bot as an example bot. And what I did in this case is I wanted to show you how to add this to any bot that you're already running. So if you're already running a bot that's going through a normal process, trying to find, positions, et cetera, what you could do is you could just simply precede any decision that you have or any action in your bot. And what you're doing here is you're just saying, hey, look, before you get to all of this, so before you start scanning positions, before you start looping through stuff, I just want to make a decision. I just want to check something first. And in this case, what you would check is you would check the FOMC meeting schedule, which is right here. So you'd say the FOMC meeting is scheduled today. And you could do, again, a day ago, in a day, in 5 days, in 10 days, whatever. But it said the FOMC meeting is scheduled today. Like today is the day. So I'll add this one in here. I'll say save, and then I'll add this. And this is going to precede the no path. Okay. So this is going to precede the no path. And so the reason I want to do that here is because if you look at the actual automation, what it's doing is it's first starting off. The very first thing it does is check and see if the FOMC meeting is scheduled today. And if it is, and the answer is yes, we do nothing. We just leave this completely blank because you don't want to do anything or whatever you want to do. Adjust exit options. You want to scan for a different type of opportunity. You only want to trade a certain type of strategy during that hour, whatever that is, or whatever it is for that day, right? You would put that here, but you can just leave it blank too. And you can just say, look, if it's a Fed day, like don't do any scanning. Don't try to find a position. Don't even bother. Don't even try to find anything or get into it. And if the answer is no, which would be 99% of the time, right? Most of the months and days and weeks that you're going to go through, the Fed is not meeting and having a meeting, and FOMC meeting, then you just put down the no pass. So is there a Fed meeting today? No. Okay. Do your normal course of business. Like do your normal checks, check implied volatility, try to open positions, etc. So that's how you can do it. It's literally that easy to just go ahead and proceed that with a decision. Then you can delete it if you don't want to, or you can just leave it in there and leave it going for all the automations that you have moving forward. Okay. All right. So I hope that really helps out today. If you guys do have any questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to help answer those in the chat, but have a good trading week and watch out for Fed day. It's going to be probably a crazy wild ride. It seems like every Fed announcement is more and more important than the last. So make sure your bots and automations are set up this week to trade around those, however you want to trade around those. As always, hope you guys enjoyed these.